Say it again? No, wait, yeah. Good morning, everybody. You may notice our piano is empty. It's probably full inside, but there's no one to make it sound. Lily had a flat tire on her way here. So we're going to have a very quiet service. However, we have a lot of choir members present, and they will help us get through all of our songs. And we have Jill, who's going to do our offertory a cappella. So just letting you know what's going on. That was the prelude.
And good morning again and welcome. I'm Debbie Skirdo, a member of the board, and I'm going to give you just a few highlights of announcements today. We have Reverend Maggie and George are both in New York. So they're on vacation until they'll probably be back around the 14th. So we're hoping they're having a great time with the grandson, and hopefully the weather holds out and the plane flights work all smoothly for them. So welcome to our Zoom folks. Welcome to everybody here. And also today we have a very important get-together meeting after service in the Founders Room. We're going to be meeting the first time with our community team. So if you're at all interested in being part of that or finding out about it, please come on over to the Founders Room after service. Also letting you know on Saturday, August 10th, which is this coming up Saturday, we're having a memorial service here at 10:30 for Ron Aswad, who is the son of Adnan Aswad, and we'll have it at 10:30 here. Everybody is invited. And also another meeting on August 18th will be the Spiritual Life team. So that'll also be meeting after service. So we're trying to get our teams all going. We appreciate everybody's interest. It isn't the easiest thing, it's some change, so of course we have to learn new things. And that's what we'll be helping with, learning about a little more about sociocracy and how to do a meeting, how to keep it flowing, and let everybody have a say. That's a real big part of it, to give every person there a chance to speak. Also on August 20th, we will have our board meeting for August, and you are all welcome to attend, or either in person or online, and that's also at 10:30. It's a Tuesday. It's at 10:30 in the morning. If you do want to speak or you have a report to give or something like that, please contact me like a week ahead so I can put you in the agenda. And hopefully I'll be all organized and be doing the agenda a week ahead. So we are also looking forward to September 1st. I know it seems really far away, but I thought August was really far away too. And here we are. September 1st, we're having our in-gathering, and choir will be singing for the first part of the season. So we'll be meeting, choir will be getting together and meeting sometime in August to prepare some wonderful music for that day. So welcome everybody. Have a great service, a book service. It's going to be fun. And I'm now introducing our lay leader for today, Catherine Rowlee.
Okay, so first we sound the bowl to center ourselves into our time of worship. We sound the bowl 3 times. We sound it once for the past and for those who came before. We sound it once for the present, for those of us here and now, for those we hold in our hearts here and now. And we sound it once for the future. Our opening words. Each of us brings a separate truth here. We bring the truth of our own life, our own story. We don't come as empty vessels, but as full people, each with our own story and our own truth. We seek to add to our truths and add to our stories. This room is rich with truth and rich with experience. All manner of people are here, needy, joyful, frightened, anxious, bored. We all bring our truths with us. May we all recognize the truth and the story in the lives of others. May we hear and honor the truths that we all bring as we gather together. Together we have truths, together we have a story, together we have community. And now, let us see how this goes. Our opening song is Gather the Spirit. You know, Jaryus could have found a YouTube video maybe real quick, but I don't think so. We really just found out. So if my choir people could, maybe if you want to, if any of you could come up front, can you? And we're going to sing this. I am a horrible singer. I used to get told to be quiet in class. So this is a beautiful song. It's by Jim Scott, a UU person. We're going to sing Gather the Spirit. What do you think, you guys? I'm going to go away from the microphone. And you may want your book. You read music, I don't know. Do you? Because we have no music. We think you want to know the book? You want to see a book?
You can give us starting note, though.
Yeah, give us starting notes. There you go. It's number.
Don't blame yourselves for doing without me.
There's more verses, but I guess we're not going to do them. Okay. That was not bad. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, I'm going to light our chalice with these words. I light the flame of our chalice in gratitude that I am in a place of worship where I and all of us have the opportunity to hear from my fellow congregants about books that have inspired them and taught them and moved them. I light it in gratitude for being in a place of worship where many books, not just one book, are valued for their words and power and truth. I light it in gratitude for being in a place of worship where each individual has the opportunity to decide which of those words hold meaning for them. Interesting. Well, there it is. Okay. And this would be where we would speak together our covenant of faith, and we often stand for this if we are so willing and able and choose to do so. And we also will remain standing as we all sing Spirit of Life, which I think we'll do better on, I don't know. Oh, boy. Okay. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. And then we'll sing in English and then in Spanish. we're being tested today, and it's coming out pretty good. I love that. Okay, we have a video. This is really quite a week. Robert is not present, and we have a video that actually Robert and I picked together that's very interesting because it is a children's story. It's the true story of the author, who's a very, very, very successful children's author. So hopefully this works. It's called A Walk in the Words, and it brings up an important aspect of reading. Oh, I don't think I need to say anything about that, but it's important to be sensitive. Some of us are so blessed so easily, and some of us aren't. I know. I teach, emotionally disturbed students, and most of them have pretty severe learning disabilities, and they could be 11th or 12th graders and struggle still. And the worst thing is their wall of shame. And he is a wonderful book. I think I'm going to read this to my students. Okay, and so with this, do we have any children to sing to? I don't see any children to sing. We're off the hook. Children, I don't know if there are any already down there, but we wish our children well. So, it's time now for our Sunday offering, and it is the first Sunday of a new month. So our Share the Plate offering is changing. Then next month, this whole month of August, we are going to be giving half of our, just our offerings that come without a label to Aging Next. And Abby Pasqua is here from Aging Next to talk to us about the organization. You're on, and I'm so glad you're here.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for inviting us. I am really honored for being here, and also for my organization, Aging Next, to be selected, to be chosen for the benefactor of your donation. Aging Next is a local community-based organization. We are located in Claremont, but we serve 16 cities from Azusa all the way to Rancho Cucamonga. Our mission is to support and educate older adults and their families so they can live well at home and in the community. We have different programs, and familiar faces are here who are also part of Aging Next through volunteering, senior companions. We have case management, volunteer transportation, and we have the volunteer driver program as well. And one of the volunteer drivers is here. One of the members of our Aging Next Village is here as well. And we are so proud and honored to provide that support and education to our older adults and their families. And how many of you have heard about the Master Plan for Aging? Okay, so national, the state of California has its own master plan for aging. The counties, San Bernardino and LA County, have their own master plan for aging. Your local communities have their own master plan for aging. Have you considered, or have you ever thought what your master plan for aging looks like? Have you ever thought of that? In 8 years or 6 years, 2030, 1/3 of the United States will turn 65. So it's very important for us to have that plan. What does senior living looks like for us? What is living well and aging well at home looks like to you? How about caregiving? We are all caregivers from the beginning. From caring from your pet to your loved ones. We're all caregivers, regardless of our age. But as we age, our loved ones age. Have you ever considered that? Learning about caregiving. And end of life. What is the difference between hospice and palliative care or funeral planning? I'd like to invite all of you on Wednesday, September 18th, from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., and we are hosting a Live Well, Age Well conference. It will be at the DoubleTree Hotel in Claremont, and $25, and it will have 9 breakout sessions from senior living all the way to end-of-life planning and in between. So I hope you can join us. We are also going to have an entertainment from Fritz Coleman. How many of you know Fritz Coleman from NBC4? He will be there as our lunch speaker, talking about humor, about growing old. So I hope you can join us. And also I have my one sheet flyer here that talks about the programs and services that Aging Next offer. So come by, call us, check our website, talk to us, and I hope that we can be partners or have one of you be volunteers at Aging Next. Thank you.
So we're really thrilled to learn about this organization and be able to support it. And it is time for our offering, and you may come forward with any offerings or give it to somebody that you see walking up here. We have offerings for the Beta Center, our local food pantry, and we have our offering basket. So be sure, and if you want your offering to go to something specific, then write that down. Otherwise, if it's just cash, it'll go half to Aging Next. And if you wish to make your own separate donation to Aging Next, feel free. And in the meantime, we will be entertained by Jill has offered to offer something for us.
Actually, a song from my high school days. Let's see if I remember.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much. So at this time, we share in our joys and sorrows, our concerns, just our life with each other. And I don't know, is there anything on Zoom, Jaryus? Is there, well, okay. Okay, let's see what it says. The joy, this is from Jenny Garrett. My youngest daughter, Margaret, gave birth to my second grandchild, another grandson, Rory Thomas Vera, born July 7th. Both mother and child are doing great. So, yay, Jenny. We don't see you here often, Jenny, but we see you on Zoom, and congratulations. And I have two, and thank you for sharing, Jenny. So one is a concern, but this one is from Jill Regale. It says, my friend Reverend Wally is recovering from pneumonia and asks for prayers. A lot of people I know ask for prayers and when given feel that they really make a difference, even if they don't know the person. So this is Reverend Wally. And a joy. This is from Karen Lane, who's sharing a pretty personal thing that I think some of us already know about. She's been concerned about her brain, and she's had some testing, and she's worried about her memory issues. And she wrote, I've been told confidently that they were all in my head. So they, So there's nothing serious except for her figuring out what's interfering with herself, right? Does that sound right? So I'm so grateful, and we feel great, probably a sense of relief and hope for you, and wish that to progress along awesomely. So we know that there are many other things we hold in our heart that have not been expressed here today, and of course there's our world to think about. So I found an interesting prayer. I was looking around for something different, and I ended up on a hospital website on their interfaith prayers, and I found one for secular humanists. And I adapted it just slightly, and I think it's really beautiful. So let's just take a moment and just settle in with ourselves together and give some attention to the joys and the sorrow that was expressed, the hopeful recovery, and all the sorrows that we know are happening now. And let us sense ourselves together as we listen to this prayer in a sense of meditation. In all parts of ourselves, we are all connected. With every breath, we share this world. May we always feel our connection to those suffering and to all in our world. May they find resilience in the memories of the suffering they have faced before and in the power offered by their connection to others. We trust in the love and support of those near us. We trust in the sciences that guide us in our understanding and decision-making. We trust in the earth. We trust in the power of our story, the story of our lives. However long and winding that story may be, we trust it to be enveloped by the greater story of life itself. Life is a passage through which we all travel, but we are never alone in that journey, even when we cannot be with those we love, even when we feel loneliness. May those suffering, and may all people, feel the presence of their loved ones in their hearts, and may they be strengthened by the support of loving communities, always and forever, through all challenges which arise. May it be so in light and love. And this is where Lily plays our interlude, and we sit together in silence. So let us sit together. And blessed be. So our reading today is very short, but to the point. I opened a book, and in I strode. Now nobody can find me. I've left my chair, my house, and my road, my town and my world behind me. I'm wearing the cloak, I've slipped on the ring, I've swallowed the magic potion. I've fought with a dragon, dined with a king, and dived in a bottomless ocean. I opened a book, and I made some friends. I shared their tears and laughter, and followed their road with its bumps and bends to the happily ever after. I finished the book, and out I came. The cloak can no longer hide me. My chair and my house are just the same, but I have a book inside me. So, that's by Julia Donaldson. And we are we love this service if you haven't been for it before. We have had it for a number of years, and I'm really honored to have Betsy Petit come as our first person to share today.
Just gonna set it aside. Good morning. I'm Betsy, and I have to point out that's Betsey. That's my mom's fault, but I'm sticking to it. Most Sundays, like today, I'm here with my husband Pat and my daughter Becky. If you ever see the three of us sitting together, standing together, and talking amongst ourselves, please butt in. We all want to get to know all of you. That's why we're here. When Catherine asked me to talk today about a book that has had an impact on my life, my first thoughts after nervously answering yes was, which book? And how do I choose? I can honestly say that every book I've ever read has influenced me and even changed how I feel and think and act. Every single one. From the story about Ping, which was the first book I checked out from the Cleveland Public Library with my brand new library card when I was 5, to my book club's latest selection of the novel James by Percival Everett. And I'll bet most of us who love to read feel much the same way. But I wanted to choose a book that would show you who I am, what strengthens me, and what breaks me, what gets me up in the morning, and what keeps me up at night, what elevates me, and what knocks me down. This congregation, its welcoming people, and its worthy mission, it inspires and encourages just this kind of reflection and sharing. But I'm not ready yet to go that deep. Without a glass of wine, some comfy chairs, and a big shot of courage. So I decided instead to go with what makes me laugh. Because laughter, as the Reader's Digest used to remind us, is still the best medicine, or at least we hope so. We hear a lot lately, way too much, about a certain man from Ohio with grand ambitions who has a problem with women and cats. I prefer to talk about another far more genuine and modest fellow from Ohio who, truth to tell, did have conflicted feelings about women and dogs. That fellow is James Thurber. Great, thank you, Jaryus, and I didn't even cue you. This is from it's a photo from 1945. I met James Thurber. He doesn't look like much of a humorist, does he? Yeah, he definitely had his joys and sorrows, as we speak of them. He was blinded in one eye when he was just a kid, and his other eye followed several decades later. It had a huge influence on his life and on his writing and his view of the world. Anyway, I met James Thurber through his writings long before I met Pat, and I fell in love with Thurber first. I come by my love naturally. I'm from Ohio too, the opposite end from the cat guy, fortunately. Thurber attended Ohio State University in Columbus, the city where he was born in 1894 and spent his formative years. I have 2 sisters and a nephew who all graduated from Ohio State, which Thurber didn't. Those sisters still live in Columbus. I wish I could remember what first brought me to Thurber. It was probably a wise teacher in a country school outside Tiffin, Ohio, or it was my witty friend Mary, who was always a step ahead of me in literature and the arts. The first work of Thurber's, slide, Jaryus. The first work of Thurber's that made me a lifetime fan was My Life in Hard Times, and this is what the first edition cover looked like. On the front, it has a blurb by Ernest Hemingway, who hadn't been around for all that long either, if you think about it, because this was published in 1933. But Hemingway had big creds, and Thurber didn't at the time. The first work of, this was a mildly fictionalized memoir of, that was published in 1933 when Thurber was just 39 years old. That's pretty young for writing a memoir. But he did that with purpose. It was about his life, it is about his life, among his hilariously eccentric family members, their dogs, and their bewildering misadventures. Even though Thurber was already 55 when I was born, My Life in Hard Times gave me belly laughs sometime in my very early teens when I entered Thurber's world through my favorite story within the book, entitled The Night the Bed Fell. Back then, the significance of the publication of My Life in Hard Times in 1933 didn't quite dawn on me. I was just a little bit too young to quite get it, although I've been a lifetime fan of all things 1930s, socially, culturally, and of course, the history in the world. It's been said that the 1930s were the golden decade for humor, both because of and in spite of the Great Depression and the rise of fascism in Europe. I've read and reread My Life in Hard Times and my favorite story, The Night the Bed Fell, and all the other stories in this volume many times over the years. They never fail to make me laugh. And I often insist that Pat let me read a passage or two to him, because laughter is only improved by sharing it with someone else who loses their breath right alongside you. Thurber's observational and deeply perceptive stories, written by a singularly witty author who was sympathetic to his often hapless subjects, were accompanied by his own illustrations. It was E.B. White, Thurber's fellow writer and close friend at the New Yorker magazine, who brought his drawings to the attention of their editor. Thurber had thrown them in the trash. White retrieved them, and ever since, they reveal the workings of Thurber's unique mind as much as his words do. I'd like to share a passage from The Night the Bed Fell. Slide. The caption here says, "Some nights she threw them all." A framed enlargement was Pat's gift to me some years ago. It hangs in the bedroom, where it never fails to bring me the inner or outer laugh that helps me to sleep and cheers my waking. Anyway, Thurber's words from the night the bed fell. We had visiting us at this time a nervous first cousin of mine named Briggs Beale, who believed that he was likely to cease breathing when he was asleep. It was his feeling that if he were not awakened every hour during the night, he might die of suffocation. He had been accustomed to setting an alarm clock to ring at intervals until morning, but I persuaded him to abandon this. He slept in my room, and I told him that I was such a light sleeper that if anybody quit breathing in the same room with me, I would wake instantly. He tested me the first night, which I had suspected he would, by holding his breath after my regular breathing had convinced him I was asleep. I was not asleep, however, and called to him. This seemed to allay his fears a little, but he took the precaution of putting a glass of spirits of camphor on a little table at the head of his bed. In case I didn't arouse him until he was almost gone, he said, he would sniff the camphor, a powerful reviver. Briggs was not the only member of his family who had his crotchets. There was Aunt Sarah Schoaf, who never went to bed at night without the fear that a burglar was going to get in and blow chloroform under her door through a tube. To avert this calamity, for she was in greater dread of anesthetics than of losing her household goods, she always piled her money, silverware, and other valuables in a neat stack just outside her bedroom with a note reading, "This is all I have. Please take it and do not use your chloroform, as this is all I have." Aunt Grace Schoaf also had a burglar phobia, but she met it with more fortitude. She was confident that burglars had been getting into her house every night for 40 years. The fact that she never missed anything was to her no proof to the contrary. She always claimed that she scared them off before they could take anything by throwing shoes down the hallway. When she went to bed, she piled, where she could get at them handily, all the shoes there were about her house. 5 minutes after she had turned off the light, she would sit up in bed and say, "Hark!" Her husband, who had learned to ignore the whole situation as long ago as 1903, would either be sound asleep or pretend to be sound asleep. In either case, he would not respond to her tugging and pulling, so that presently she would arise, tiptoe to the door, open it slightly, and heave a shoe down the hall in one direction, and its mate down the hall in the other direction. Some nights she threw them all, some nights only a couple of pair. This is just a tiny piece, and it just really gets funnier and builds and builds and builds from them. But I would like you to have the opportunity, if you have never met James Thurber, to feel free to borrow my book, because this is worth it in any time. These stories last forever. Excuse me. That passage, again, was just the opening to the events of the night the bed fell. In our own hard times, I know I need the respite of a good story well told that takes me away for a few moments from the conflict and strife and worries. When it's the work of the 20th century's most gifted humorist, what a bonus. Now, just 2 more photos. Slide, Jaryus. Actually, this was going to be the last photo, but it's okay here, too. I found this Thurber drawing that is not in my life in hard times, but I couldn't resist. The caption reads, "Alice can be a little girl commando in your game, Donald." And it just came right to the present for me. And finally, for our 30th anniversary in 2000, Pat gave me a 24 by 36 framed copy of this Thurber drawing. The caption reads, "It's our own story exactly. He bold as a hawk, she soft as the dawn." Its irony and satire are evident, but so is its truth and its wit. I think we're still married, almost 54 years, because we laugh at the same things, primarily ourselves. If you haven't yet met James Thurber, I hope you will. I brought my Thurber collection. I had given away some biographies of Thurber that I'd read, but were not the best. But they're on the back table, along with bookends, which are Thurber dogs. And once you know a Thurber dog, you always know what other people are talking about when they say, "That's a Thurber dog." It's a rather sad, little bit bewildered and confused, but also a little bit wise dog. But James Thurber, thank you, and thank every one of you.
Thank you so much. That was so wonderful. And our second speaker is Murray Smith. You're on.
Thank you. No pictures, just words. And I know James Thurber and really like him. Okay. All right. Thank you, Catherine, Rowlee, for asking me to speak about a book that has been influential to me. As we discussed, the real challenge is narrowing things down to one book.
You don't have to speak into it. Just talk.
Okay. I've always been a reader. My parents and family were all readers. I have a love of books and reading, so talking about an influential book doesn't seem like a hard thing to do until you're standing here. I've chosen a book that was published in 1952. It's right here. It's called This I Believe. My copy belonged to my parents originally, and I snitched it from them. Anyhow, I hadn't read this book in a long while, and this, I believe, is the personal philosophies of 100 thoughtful men and women, which was written for and with a foreword by Edward R. Murrow. This, I believe, was originally a 5-minute program hosted by Edward R. Murrow from 1951 to 1955 on the CBS radio network. The show encouraged both famous and everyday people to write short essays about their own personal motivation in life and then read them on the air. This, I believe, became a cultural phenomenon that stressed individual belief rather than religious dogma. Its popularity both developed and waned within the era of McCarthyism and the Cold War. This, I believe, has been revitalized off and on over the years. Notably, NPR had a version of it from 2005 to 2009. And then Bob Edwards' Weekends has run a syndicated version of it since 2009. These essays were put together thoughtfully, and they've held up very well. Participants in the 1952 book version included educators, soldiers, taxicab drivers, professional athletes such as Jackie Robinson, writers, actors, politicians, Helen Keller, Eleanor Roosevelt, Thomas Mann, President Herbert Hoover, architects, people of all walks of life. The Cold War was alluded to frequently throughout the essays that were written in 1951. McCarthyism was referenced in some of the essays. There was also unbridled optimism. There was an undercurrent of optimism that was pervasive throughout the book. The essayists were not cynical. They were forward-thinking, looking towards a bright American future. Of course, that was on the hills of the conclusion of World War II. Anyhow, this book gave me hope. It was put together shortly after the end of World War II. The Cold War and McCarthyism were significant cultural factors. A desire to rise above those circumstances was evident and pervasive throughout the essays contained within this book. I don't believe that we are fundamentally different as human beings from our immediate forebears. That's where I find hope. History cannot be ignored. I wished I did have pictures. I didn't know that. Thankfully, maybe I could have a tank. Thankfully, many things have changed since 1952, but fundamentally, it can be argued that human nature remains much the same. I think in rereading this book, there was a genuine desire by virtually everyone to be a decent human being, to be honest and truthful, to treat one another respectfully, to work hard, to gain diverse perspectives and to understand the value of diverse perspectives, a desire to get things right. Anyhow, I'm already at the conclusion. I'm getting there. I will conclude with a few notes from just one essay within this book. They are from James B. Carey, not Jim Carey, James B. Carey, who was one of the youngest labor leaders in the U.S. in 1952. At age 25, he was president of the International Union of Electrical, Radio, and Machine Workers, the CIO. He said in his essay, "Perhaps more than anything in the world, I believe in liberty. Liberty for myself, liberty for my fellow men. I can't forget the legend engraved on the base of the Statue of Liberty on Bedloe's Island in New York Harbor. It says, 'Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.'" That was the thing about this book. It just, the parallels to what we're experiencing right now were just very dramatic. And I couldn't help but think about immigration in this context. Anyhow, he went on to further state, "That is the voice of America. As one small part of it, one tiny decibel in its sound, I, as a free individual of America, believe in it. It makes no boast of noble ancestry. On the contrary, it admits honestly that each of us in this country, with the possible and qualified exception of our native Indians, is a displaced person. In a particular kind of way, the Indian was our first displaced person. If you and I did not come from abroad ourselves, our forefathers did. The scourge that drove them was economic, political, or religious oppression. Oppression has always strewn the shores of life with wretched human refuse. We who today are the proud people of a proud country are what might be called the reclaimed refuse of our lands. He concluded with, as an individual, I must face the future with honesty and faith in the good things that have made us mighty. I must have confidence in myself, in others, in all men of goodwill everywhere, for freedom is the child of truth and confidence. That's what I have written, but you can see that I was pretty inspired by many of the essays, and they all spoke to me, just like all books have spoken to me. But I wanted to share that because I think it's still so very pertinent to our times, and they were pertinent in 52 and they're pertinent in 2024. So thank you.
So you understand now how precious this service is. I just thank you so sincerely for what you both gave us today yourselves. And I can't wait to revisit. That book was, we had a service here that someone started for a long time called This I Believe. And I just realized I believe that is where she probably got it from. And I had just been thinking we should maybe institute that again, reinstitute it. And James Thurber was my brother's favorite, and I can't wait to go home and look at his books again. And I know you all feel the same way, just that you've been gifted here today. So we have a song, and it is, I had picked it when thinking we'd have a pianist, of course, but it's The Blue Boat Home. And I know we've pretty much, most of us have sung that before, and I would call on my singers to come forth and help us with this. And so how about it, Jill and Debbie and whoever else feels they could come. Yeah, and the piano, and let's stand, and let's, if we so choose, and let's belt it out. Oh, that was awesome. And I have some closing words before we extinguish our chalice and say our unison benediction together. It might be said that more than anything else humanity has created or accomplished, the books that we have written are, in their totality, our greatest legacy, the greatest record of who we are and what it means to be human, our greatest gift to ourselves. May you have been gifted by the offering shared today. May words continue to inspire our lives. And we'll say our benediction together if it comes up, and if not, we'll have. Okay. And extinguish our chalice flame. May we invite its light to shine through us, to strengthen us for the way ahead, and to allow our lives to serve as a light in this world that we care so much about. Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful, and I appreciate you all for your flexibility, and thank you for sharing Betsy and Murray. So let's go and socialize for a little while, and if you want to see the people on Zoom, stay in and come up and say hi to everybody. So let me extinguish this chalice.